T.O. ended up getting me smashed in the noggin by Chris Humphreys. Gave me a little head bag, if you know what I mean. Chris Humphreys is a total brute. Dallas showed up for the exhibition. There was a ton of freaking people there. Terrell Owens, Golden Tate, Adrian Peterson, Chris Humphreys, Jenna Brady, Big Dirk dog. I'll tell you what, that guy is loved in Dallas. Absolutely loved. I think Dirk played for the Mavericks for 10 or 15 years. And the guy is absolutely loved in that city. Cool to see.
Definitely a ton of love, even though he's retired, and unlike anything I've ever seen.
I grew up watching T.O. create highlight reels as a wide receiver for the Cowboys, so super cool meeting him. Golden Tate, we've spent some time with Golden and his wife and his fam.
Love Golden.
Golden is probably one of the more competitive animals I've ever met in my life.
They did a great job. VIP was super cool too. It was like double decker, and then each deck had its own like level of like a ton of chairs. So they did a really great job at housing everybody.
Yeah, the celeb event was ran very efficiently, and it seems like all the guests that were there had a great time. What's going on? My name is Tyson McGuffin. Welcome to the McGuffin Show. We are back here in Coeur d'Alene. Just had a week in Dallas. Took the kids with us. Had our whole team with us. Nanny, wifey, camera guy. Did it, done it. Wasn't a great week for me, but kids had a stellar time. They could care less if daddy wins or loses, if you know what I mean. Capped off our weekend at Great Wolf Lodge. Kind of fun. It's a massive kids resort somewhere in Dallas there.
Grapevine.
I think there's a C&P in Grapevine as well, but yeah, off for a couple weeks now. Let's see, year-end finals is in San Clemente. I think first weekend of December. I'll probably be in 2 events, most likely singles and men's. Don't think I made it in mix. I think in order for me to be in mix, I had to be top 8, and I believe Hayden got that 8th spot. So Big H just passed me. Yeah, last year I was in all 3 events. I think last year there was 3 males that were in all 3 events, Jada, Ben, and myself. Yeah, blessed and thankful to be in 2 this year. Let's see, first and foremost, we flew in Sunday night, flew Delta, Salt Lake City down to Dallas, and kids came with us. Nice, smooth, easy flight down. Monday morning was looking to get some practice in, contacted PPA, see if there was practice courts there, and I think just with how much activity and how many people and how many total entries were there, like 3,500, I think.
Yeah, I think so. 35. And then also with it raining, I think it kind of like slimmed everything. So it seemed like there were 4 practice courts there that were delegated for practice courts, which was nice because you guys typically don't have the size of venue that affords that. So it was really cool that they did that this year. But when it's raining, it doesn't help. So no practice courts Monday.
So no practice courts on Monday at the venue. Monday they had qualies going on. Luckily, this venue has both indoor and out. They have a covered structure that has 12 on each side, maybe like
24.
Yeah, something like that.
It's massive.
But they have the indoor structure. One of the days, I think, the days where matches were outside, there were still matches going inside as well. That was in the indoor structure. And it was kind of strange. So like the days that we were both in and out, I think GS2 and GS3 were indoors where everything else was outside. So that's kind of a first for the players, where we have both indoor and outdoor taking place. Wouldn't say that the players are a huge fan of that. Definitely a little different going from indoors to outdoors.
Just the lighting is different. What would you say? What else? Like the visibility, environment, and the speed and the temperature and stuff is all. And
then also too in the pro lounge. The pro lounge was in the main clubhouse. They had an indoor facility in the clubhouse area. There, I don't know how many tennis courts are in there, but. I think the couple days that it pretty much rained all day, they ended up taping lines down inside and put amateurs indoors. So that was nice of PPA not to cancel their events and have a plan C, if you know what I mean.
I saw like reviews of people saying that how matches still like ran on time and things were running well, and it seemed like they had plenty of backup plans this time, knowing that just dealing with the rain and the mud and everything they had to deal with last year, it seemed definitely more established.
And obviously, it's tricky leaving Indian Wells Tennis Garden and going from like one of the best tennis venues in the world to Brookhaven Country Club, if you know what I mean. So I think, that first year that the event was ran at Brookhaven Country Club, last year it rained a ton and there was like hay by the porta potties. This year there was no porta potties, so definitely smart on PPA. I didn't see any hay anywhere as well. So it seemed like this year for fans, guests, amateurs, they had like the portable little trailer bathrooms. That was super nice. And
they're like AC and nice. For sure. And someone's always attending them and keeping them clean. And it's definitely high-end outdoor bathrooms. Yeah,
so night and day from last year. It seemed like even though it rained this year, just things were much more organized, ran the right way. Pickleball Boulevard was rocking and rolling. Probably the best pickleball vendor village that you will see just all on one street. They had courts set up. They had country music artists playing at night. It was a total festival party. Yeah, the best party in pickleball.
And all of the activations, like all the vendors that did set up for the brands that were there, it seemed like they all kind of stepped up their game. The rain activation, I think, was probably the most impressive out of everything there. It was like the size of a massive trailer. I
was talking to Sammy Q. Yeah. Apparently, that just folds up and folds into a.
Like a semi-trailer.
Yeah,
it's massive, though. But it was cool because I think they've done it in previous, like, with their other brands, but with Rainstorm, with the new blue logo and everything.
Super nice, and it's poppy.
Super sweet. And then when we went back on, not to skip ahead too much, but when we went back on Saturday for the activation with them, it was kind of cool. They had, like, a whole private party set up top, catered by Italy, and, they had wristbands, and the very top tier of that trailer thing, I think it holds like 40 people, but it was really cool view too of all the amateur courts. So like there's a ton more amateur courts to the left of the indoor building as well. So
yeah, for sure.
Just being able to have a bird's eye view and
little
hang out.
Multi-deck setup. It was kind of fun. When I went for the activation, they had me do like a little taste test and filmed a bunch of content. They also had amateurs coming in and doing taste tests as well. And it's super smart of them because like their biggest competitor is Celsius.
Yeah.
So anyhow, they had a can A that was covered and a can B that was covered, and they poured it in cups.
Yeah.
So can A that I tried definitely tasted like Valencia Orange. It's funny, just like the difference of Valencia Orange Rainstorm compared to Orange Celsius. Orange Celsius, not gonna lie, tastes like vitamins.
Yeah, it's so funny listening
to
like
people. Tastes like cough syrup and vitamins, and it's like just over powerful in your mouth, and definitely not as smooth as Rainstorm. And it seems a lot more thick as well. It seems like syrupy.
Well, even looking at it, right? Like you said, like lighter color for the rain, and then the other one was
Celsius
like a darker, more
orange.
flat.
That was my first time really doing a taste test with both of those, and I've never really dabbled with Celsius, but there was a big major difference. Rainstorm all day.
Yeah, it's funny. I've said this about rain before, but like I'm not a big energy drink person, so that's just not really something my go-to. But rains are so easy, and they are great, and I don't get jittery.
I just wouldn't have more than one, even though Meg has a couple in a day.
I could do a lot of caffeine. I feel like just with how much coffee and everything else I drink. But
let's see. They had some Rainstorm paddles out there. They had like a little pickleball setup. It was kind of cool. So you walked up into like the first deck, and there was some pickleball courts there, like little mini courts. And then if you were cool enough and got a VIP badge, you could go upstairs where all the cool cats were at. And then there was a viewing area of like all the amateur courts and stuff like that. But anyhow,
it was super cute. On Friday, just a little story. I had Banks there with me, and she was like so excited. And so we had walked up. James was there, and our agent James, and so he came with us, and we walked up to the top of the activation, not to the very top, but to that little court, and we were all hitting around and stuff. And Banks was just like all about it, and it was perfect for her because the whole thing was surrounded by that like plastic fencing, that plastic like chicken wire looking stuff. Right. And so you could like hit the ball crazy and it would stay in that small little area. And she literally, like, it was so cute. She looks at me and she's like, "This is the best ever." And she was like so excited.
It's the perfect little pickle playground.
Yeah, it was perfect. Yeah, it was great.
Especially if you have no control.
Yeah, exactly. Right. A good learning area.
Let's see here. Yeah, so Monday went to Preston Playhouse. Obviously, there was no indoor courts at the venue. If you're in Dallas area, or if you ever go to Dallas and are looking for an indoor facility, we actually did an exhibition against the Dallas Flash Our MLP team did. The Squeeze did this like 6 months ago or whatever. But used to be an old shopping center, and they turned it into like a 10 indoor court facility. They got ping pong in there. They got a little bar in there. Super high ceilings, and then there's a couple padel courts as well. So we're actually thinking about running some camps there next year. Preston Playhouse. I don't know where that's at or where that's located at in Dallas, but it was like 10 minutes away from Brookhaven.
Yeah.
Super nice.
Yeah, super nice. And the people there are so nice too. But yeah, nice new facility. You know, like when you walk into those facilities and they still feel brand new. That's definitely one of them that's it's run well and taken care of.
Preston Playhouse. Celeb exhibition, kind of fun. Terrell Owens, Golden Tate, Adrian Peterson, Chris Humphreys, Jenna Brady, Dirk Nowitzki. Is that how you pronounce his last name? I'm pretty sure. Big Dirk dog. I'll tell you what, that guy is loved in Dallas. Absolutely loved him. I think Dirk played for the Mavericks for 10 or 15 years, and the guy is absolutely loved in that city. Cool to see. I don't know. I've never seen something like that.
Yeah. A different
a
kind
player
of
being
celebrity.
invested or being a part of like or being so involved in like a community like that, and just how much support and how much love there was.
Well, and people like were there like all day just waiting to get there. Like
Dirk jerseys everywhere.
Yeah, like by happenstance they had to watch some pickleball because they wanted to hold down their seats for the celebrity pro-am at the end of the day. But it was like this easier access to this guy. But like, yeah, just to watch the fans, like they were having to tell people to back up and please don't press on the side rails of because everybody wanted him to sign things. I mean, he sat there and signed and he'd come back and then he'd have to go on court and then he'd come back. But like, and they had to hold like exit path for him just because they were like, it's insane. Grown men are like chasing him down because they want to talk to him or get his autograph. But definitely a ton of love, even though he's retired and like, I mean, yeah, it was unlike anything I've ever seen. That's for sure.
So I grew up watching T.O. Create highlight reels as a wide receiver for the Cowboys. So super cool meeting him. Golden Tate, we've spent some time with Golden and his wife and his fam.
Love Golden.
Been to his place there in San Diego, gave him a little lesson. Golden is probably one of the more competitive animals I've ever met in my life. It was kind of funny. I was on Necker Island. I was talking to Drew Brees about like, how do you turn the switch off as an athlete? Like, you know, once you retire, how are you able just to kind of manage like the day to day with being an athlete and having a couple screws loose and trying to push that towards like a positive direction? And it was kind of funny. Drew Brees told me like you can never turn the switch off. And looking at Golden, that's a prime example of somebody who can just never turn the freaking switch off. The guy plays pickle a couple of days a week, plays a bunch of golf, and super invested with his family. And
it's cool. You can tell that he like didn't turn the switch off, but like redirected it, like you're saying. I think that's what you were talking to Drew about too. Like, if Golden's driven and like he's doing so much, he's still doing stuff with football. He seems like he's still doing. Now he's like dove into pickleball. Wants to be good, is good.
Great family man, very religious, does everything right.
Does a ton of stuff for like charity and giving, and it seems like they're always doing something to give back to their community. But just like a guy that's like full on, but found a good way to like redirect all of that drive for sure.
But anyhow, it was kind of cool. Golden was like asking T.O. if he was having a good time. He was asking Adrian Peterson if he's having a good time, asking Humphrey. So he was like, obviously, I think he was there for Deep Eddie, and Deep Eddie took care of him to a certain degree. Okay. But also he came for the exhibition. Yeah. But yeah, he was like the guy just making sure that like all the other celebs were like, you know, having a good time. And, he was like, I don't know, he's perfect for that role, you know?
Yeah, no. Sure.
I got to play with T.O., got to play with Adrian Peterson. Both those guys had never played before. T.O. ended up getting me smashed in the noggin like Chris Humphreys, gave me a little head bag, if you know what I mean. Chris Humphreys is a total brute. All these guys are specimens, but yeah, Chris, I got to know Chris's story a little bit. I played in the NBA, dated Kardashian for a while, or married to Kardashian.
Yeah, I think Kim, married Kim, yeah.
Anyhow, the nicest guy, the most humble guy you'll ever meet. He was rocking a bunch of Dave's Hot Chicken merch, and I was like, bro, why are you all decked out in Dave's Hot Chicken? And he's like, well, I own all of them.
He owns a bunch, yeah. So, owns a bunch in the Dallas area.
Yeah. His dad's a big real estate guy back in Minnesota. He lives in Minnesota. And, sounds like Chris is doing very well and has got his head on straight and has done very well for his brand, and he's starting to venture out and invest the right way and all that. T.O. got to talk to T.O. for a little bit as well. T.O. kind of seemed like he was a little bit like out of his element. He was pretty quiet and like pretty reserved. Every interview that I've seen T.O. do, he's like super boisterous and like very energetic. He was
to their credit, I think for a couple of them, it was like their first time really picking up a paddle or getting on court, and it's just humbling. It's like you watch pickleball, and I think you think like, oh, that's easy. I should be able to do that. Like that's no problem. Not saying that they thought that or gave that much thought, but I think then going out there and being like, oh, okay, there's a little bit more to this than. But good on them to like do it in front of a whole massive crowd
and Dallas showed up for the exhibition. I mean, Dallas showed up all week, but like especially that night for the exhibition, there was a ton of freaking people there.
Yeah,
all the VIP boxes, all the VIP area was all.
Yeah. Yep, and there was plenty of seating. They did a great job, I think, for like the general admission seating. And then VIP
packed a bit.
VIP was super cool too. It was like double decker, and then each deck had its own like level of like a ton of chairs. So they did a really great job at housing everybody, and bars and access to food and all that. It was really good.
Yeah,
cool.
But the celeb event was ran very efficiently, and it seems like all the guests that were there had a great time. And T.O. even showed up like a couple days later and watched and wanted to play in with like some of the pros and all that. So, and then also too, every night they had music going. It seemed like it was mainly country music. I know my wife's a huge fan of Morgan Evans as well, even though we didn't get to see him.
Well, we met Morgan on Necker, super cool guy, and so it would have been cool to connect that dot again. But no, it was cool. They had artists every day. We met another artist there too, Taylor Holder. Yeah, you got to chat with him more than I did.
Yeah, Taylor's got a crazy story. I think he's from Texas. Moved to LA when he was 18. Told his parents that like he wanted to be famous and he wanted to grow his following and all that. So he ended up going on TikTok. It's crazy. After 1 year on TikTok in LA, after meeting a bunch of influencers and a bunch of TikTok content creators and having a team around him, he was able to like take his TikTok channel from 0 followers to 12 million in like 1 year. Directly after that, got a little sick of the LA scene. He always wanted to sing country. And actually, before the TikTok stuff, grew up as like a motocross guy, was also a boxer. When he was in LA, linked up with like Jake Paul and the Paul brothers, got to do some boxing with Jake Paul and Logan. And crazy story. And then after his TikTok channel blew up, ends up moving to Nashville, wants to be a country singer, meets a bunch of country artists, and now he's rocking and rolling, and he's wrote some songs with
talk about like
with some well-known country singers and
for sure, like building just being like a stud athlete, and then then finding a way to make it and grow your platform, and then get to a point where then you can pivot and really do what you feel you're passionate about in the moment. So it was pretty cool.
But super inspiring. And his parents live at his house right now. He's like all about taking care of his parents because his parents took care of him his whole life. And he's got a cool team around him, seems super loyal. And I don't know, if there's one common thing I see with like very successful people that just go out and get it, is that they're always loyal to their family, or the people that have been with them since day one. He's clean and sober, never drank his whole life, very religious, and the freaking nicest guy you'll ever meet. And talk about a guy who just he was chasing his dreams and manifested all that, and put in the time, put in the effort, put himself around the right environment, and usually if you can do those things, good things happen. Cool kid though. Got his contact info. We're gonna try to stay in touch, and maybe do some collab stuff together. So
awesome.
A wide range. Yeah, and then also too, I think at the venue, it was one of the first times where I've seen so many different activities taking place throughout the day. Whether it was music, or they had like a pickle eating contest. There was a bunch of different brand activations. Just vendor village the whole time throughout the whole week was rocking and rolling. A ton of people walking around.
Vendor Village had like 3 pickleball courts on it, and I think brands
they had clinics.
Yeah, brands could rent the court for a couple hours.
A bunch of stuff.
So you saw like the same celebs you'd meet, or the country artists that were there for the day. At some point, they were on a court in Vendor Village, so you could watch or play in with them. And they had like lots of, like you said, I think the big store there was doing like a bunch of giveaways. So like you were like trying to hit items with a pickleball and then you won that item. So, and then there was a pickleball Santa, which was so random, but there was a guy there that was there almost every day, I'm pretty sure, but big white beard, red coat, looked just like you would like, what Santa would look like, I think. And it was funny. He had a bunch of candy canes. And so he'd see kids and he was like handing out candy canes, and Banks was obsessed, of course, but yeah, just kind of super random. Pickleball Santa.
Pickleball Santa. Let's see here. PB test running interview is kind of fun. So they only set up that desk area, I think, twice this year. It was at Masters and then the last Grand Slam of the year. McNasty, Matt, and Cameron ran the desk. I thought they did a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though I didn't play well enough to win any matches on center or to have a conversation with those two. Just a good way to. Well, just the overall presentation looks great. Yeah. They're diving more into player stories. They're asking more questions versus just like a general interview on court. I know players also are able to like reuse that content, chop it up. Whether it's photos or Instagram reels or whatever. So cool for players to have that content. But no, just the TV desk interview area was very polished and looks good and looks good on PBTV. And do you want to talk about what PBTV is doing about all the app and all the live stream courts and all that?
Yeah, for sure. I believe it's available now, but it's an app on iOS and Android. Pickleball TV is now an app. So it's kind of cool. I think it's very affordable. It's cheaper than our coffee. I think it's like $5.99 a month or $59.99 for the year, and you get full access. So kind of cool. Whenever there's a tournament, you'll be able to see all the court streaming on demand, and it has like a DVR function, so you're actually able to. I know when you're watching on, or I don't know this for sure, but I feel like when you were watching on Pickleball TV before or Fox or wherever it might be, you obviously can't rewind. Now you can rewind and fast forward and like rewatch points and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's super cool. Also like video on demand. So Making McGuffins is on there, and so our episodes premiere every Monday at 7 and 10 p.m. Eastern on the channel. But if you want to go watch backlog episodes, you can go to Making McGuffins on there, and you can watch all the backlog. So video on demand. So lots of cool features. I think there's also some instructional content on there. So just tons of pickleball content all in one spot in an app. No more hunting and trying to find what courts and all of that. So I think it's a
PBTV.
Yeah, sure. Super cool. But they're just upping the ante and everything. I mean, the people at Tennis Channel obviously have worked hard over the years, and were there developing and growing Tennis Channel, so they know what they're doing. And so now they're really, really diving into pickleball, and it's cool to see.
Smart for sure. AL got 2 goals, lost the women's. I think that's the second time that we've seen Rachel and Anna beat Kath in AL this year. So cool to see different teams winning. Hayden and Riley win gold as well. Ended up beating Pablo and Deckel in the finals there. Pablo and Deckel ended up taking out Jame and I in 3 in the quarters, and then took out CJ and Kwong, who had a great run in the semis. Let's see. Benny lost twice in one day. I think it's the first time I've ever seen it. Lost in men's and lost in singles. Also, we had that celeb exhibition that night. Directly after the men's loss, he got thrown right out to the exhibition. When I walked in like the back little room where all the players and celebs were, I thought there was no way that I would see Ben back there. So mad respect for Benny for sticking around. But as an athlete, to get your act together and put on a face for the public and for the tour that you play on after a couple bad losses, always a tough one. So Benny lost twice in one day. Kwang Dong making 3 semis. Talk about a guy who is playing at a super high level. I didn't think he would be this far in his pickleball career, or I guess having this sort of success this early in, but just comes to show that the kid's been putting in the time, putting in the effort, and I know there's a lot of people out there that don't think his dad is beneficial for his game, but I'll be the first to tell you his dad is very beneficial. And there's certain athletes that can't take it or can't have a parent kind of in their corner being a little tougher on him, but I think someone like a Kwong, I think Kwong has taken his dad's advice and has been able to run with it, and it hasn't affected him in a negative way. I think there's, plenty of situations where it does affect the athlete in a negative way, but for Kwong, I think Kwong's tough enough. Him and his dad are close enough where, he's
thriving in that
environment. For sure. He's thriving in that setting, where his pops could be a little tougher on him, if you know what I mean.
And you see, like, what's cool, like, it seems like their family travels together. Usually always dad's there and his brother Bao's always there, and they're joking and having fun and stuff. So even though he works like extremely hard on the court, and
Kwong's out there having a good time.
He could easily put in probably more hours and time on the court than maybe any player on tour. But he for sure, it seems like he's got the balance. And I think that's huge, because I think if he didn't have the balance, you would see that. I think if your personal life is suffering, or if you're, not happy or mentally not there, you're not going to be great, I think. But so I think it's kudos to him and his family, his dad, and all of them. They've been always very kind to us, and always with a smile on their face, and always say hi. And just great people. So cool to see him making it, like you said, as far as he has, and
for sure.
in such a short amount of time.
Short period of time. Sure. Fed is walking away with 3 medals. Let's see, 1 singles, and then took a bronze in men's, took a bronze in mixed as well. So big weekend for fellow squeezer. CJ Klinger putting a stamp on his name with the last slam of the year. This is his best result this year, I think. People really started to see his game progress in MLP, playing for the Hustlers, playing with Jack. Yeah, I think CJ, for a lefty, does so many things well. Likes to use his little inside-out forehand drop. He's got heavy hands. He's still able to scramble well and play good defense and all that. But I think what makes CJ really stand out is his ability to really play a big role in the middle. I think as a lefty, he slides middle well. He doesn't miss from a dinking standpoint. And it seems like for the longest times he was more of like a counterattacker. Now he's starting to create some more options. It seems like he's starting to flick a bit more with the backhand out of the air. He's finding more forehand dinks. He's starting to dink more aggressively. It just seems like in general his game is heading down the right path. And then I think also too, like, whether it's Kwong or CJ, if you haven't been at the top for a long time, being able to find your best stuff when like the going gets tough, or being able to like find your best stuff on center court against the Johns, they don't have a ton of experience doing that. So winning matches like that can only help later on down the road with having more confidence under pressure, or having more confidence with playing better teams. And it just seems like both of those guys under pressure really are starting to thrive, and trust bringing some of their best stuff when the moment gets tough. Let's see, Rachel and Anna obviously beat AL and Kath in 3 games. Do I think they're the best team in the world? No, but I think beating the best team in the world in 3 straight games definitely gives them some more credit. That's for sure. And like the way that they beat them, it was very dominant. I was on the golf course playing, and we had some friends that were with us, kind of watching the match and giving us some match
highlights
updates.
and things. No, for sure, definitely a commanding win, and to come out and get it dial it in and more efficient. And how many times have those guys met on the same court? I'm sure plenty. So I just see those girls improving, obviously, and figuring some things out. I feel like you play someone enough, you start to kind of figure it out. We've seen that, I think, in the past years too, when it comes to men's as well. I feel like I don't know. We were talking about this before, but like as partnerships progress, like you kind of see the general same teams kind of up the top playing each other every Sunday, and so things start to get big.
Let's see. Directly after I lost out, played some golf. Ended up going to Omni PGA Resort in Frisco. Super nice. Probably one of the nicer golf resorts I've been to. They had like a full putt area where you could play like 18. On like a putt course. They had a nighttime par 3. They had they had like a PGA West and a PGA East, 2 18s. And it's so true. Everything's bigger in Texas, and that place was freaking massive. Yeah. So nice.
Yeah, it was super nice.
And then directly after Dallas, got the heck out of there, went up to Grapevine and took the kids to Great Wolf Lodge, tore it up for a couple days. Kids had a great time. They have a water park there. bunch of fun activities for kids. And we ended our weekend getting some good family time and taking my mind off of pickle. I probably won't play for a couple weeks. I'm going to stay clear, if you know what I mean. Getting a PRP injection in my Achilles on Thursday. Taking a few weeks off. Got year-end finals first weekend of December. And then we're off to Mexico for a couple weeks. So,
yep.
Mama, anything else that took place at Great Wolf that's something to highlight?
No, I mean, Great Wolf is kind of funny. We took Sky and Ty there, like reminiscing a little bit. There's one in between Seattle and Portland. I think it's in Centralia area. But anyway, so we took the boys there. This was back, I think, maybe even before we were married. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of fun. Like, there's just, you get this little, like, neckband thing and all these activity. There's, like, a Build-A-Bear on site. There's a whole candy store. And then there's an arcade. It's pretty much anything a kid would want. I think the one here in Washington has, like, a kid spa. But just tons of kid activities. And it's hard not to, like, see their, like, they're just in awe and like so excited. It's hard to be upset or to like, I don't know. For us, I think it was good to have that, to turn the switch off, to turn the pickleball switch off for a second and just spend some pure family time and just watch our kids just totally into it. The only downside I would say is like Mac is just a total thrill junkie. He loves rides. He loves water slides. He loves all the above. And poor guy, he's like, what, like an inch too short or something like that. So when we're on the rides or at Disney, he can kind of get away with it with shoes on, but at a water park, it's hard because you're not wearing shoes. So poor guy, he got on a few of the slides, but he couldn't go on all of them. And
well, it's so funny too. Anytime that we measure him, he kind of knows that he's too short, so he naturally like gets on his toes and tries to stand up taller.
So it's pretty cute. So looking forward to when Matt can just ride everything, but Banks obviously does, and she's so funny. Banks is a thrill seeker too. Like she's on it, and her eyes are like the size of pancakes. Like she's just like so scared looking, and then as soon as we go off, she's let's go again. Yeah, so
kids are keeping us young.
Yeah, they are, and they're way too sweet. But they're excited to be home. We're excited to go to school today. This will be nice for them too. They'll have like 3 solid weeks at school. But yeah, all good. All good things.
Let's see. We're probably gonna run a pod again next week. We're gonna try to stay consistent with the pod, filming some educational videos next week as well, and trying to get the cert together. So lots of fun stuff coming. My name is Tyson McGuffin. This is the McGuffin Show. We'll see you guys next episode.